and the thing goes. Oh man, we have a red day here today, down about 6.5% or so. But if you watched my video yesterday, this is something that you actually expected, is this third test rejection of that $48.50-ish level of resistance, in which we've seen this trend play out many times with AMC stock. So if you watched that, you're ready for this, right? That's exactly what I wanted to talk about yesterday, is this 4-test trend, which I still stand by leading into tomorrow. We're going to talk about a couple different things here, but in case you're new here, what is up, everybody? I'm the Trey's Trades. We freaking talk fast and don't skip class like the first by saying I'm not a financial advisor or expert. So take what I say with a grain of salt. Let's get into the video. Eminem, you got fucking nothing. Nothing, babe. I'm just kidding. So we're going to go over a couple different things here, right? I want to show you the Ortex data, which essentially just gives you an idea of short interest in the entire holistic picture. The most important thing here, what I'm going to walk through, is what this means and why it is relevant based on the information that's laid out in front of us. I also want to go over the unusual whales options flow data. There is it's essentially just a website that shows you options flow, both bullish and bearish, into any sort of stock, so that you can predict upcoming sort of moves. And then we're going to get into the technical analysis and this trend that we are watching play out before our very eyes. Pretty freaking picture perfect-esque. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm honestly even a little bit surprised that it's tracking what I thought would happen so cleanly, but it is. And here we are. We got the pullback that I thought would happen. So without further ado, baby, let's just get into the video and the meat and potatoes of what I want to talk about here today. So the Ortex data, right? Biggest takeaway, if you are new to the 8 movement, you're new to AMC stock, what does this mean? Why is it relevant? 85% of the exchange reported FINRA data is reported to this exchange, the short interest exchange of Ortex. And essentially what this gives you is a conservative floor in terms of what the actual short interest is for any sort of stock. And currently, based on 85% of the exchange reported data, you have 16.87% current short interest of free float, which is 86.29 million total shares. Utilization, essentially, this is another important thing, is the entire pie. If you have free float on loan, right? Free float shares, about 500 million, just a hair over that. 92% of whatever is available out of that 500 million shares, that is the utilization rate. So 92% of what is currently lendable out to lendees, the people who want to borrow stock, is being held. As that number goes up, you watch this annualized interest rate or the cost of borrow start to go up. And overall, the trend here is that the utilization is going up. Today is one of actually the first days in which you see a little bit of a shift in terms of utilization, but overall, it's always, when in doubt, zoom out. Look at the macroscopic picture. If you could draw some sort of upside level of support on this, you can see what the trend is, right? You can see that with your eyes. You don't need me to tell you that. Utilization is going up. Short interest overall has been going up, right? And the cost to borrow is staying about neutral, but slight upside to this cost to borrow as well. We can show you this at this sort of trend line right here. Currently staying at 1.48%, but today about 2.14, which is a pretty significant increase overall of that average cost to borrow. The big numbers, the big pressure coming on short positions is going to come as that utilization continues to go up. So it is something that you want to watch for. So that's what we've got cooking in terms of short interest. The big takeaway, as I say in every single video, unless it literally says otherwise, is the shorts haven't covered positions yet. You can't have the squeeze that all the apes are looking for with this stock without the shorts getting pushed and freaking lemon pepper tendied out of their freaking positions. So that's what you got cooking up here for the Ortex data. Now the flow, this essentially is a tool in which you can predict upcoming moves to the up or the downside. And I like to look at essentially specific filters. Now the filter that I have on this is $200,000 of premium, right? So I want to see at least $200,000 of an order going in for a long call or a long put, essentially meaning that they're slapping the ask side of things, not the bid, right? I'm not interested in the bid at all. I'm interested in the ask, the long calls, long puts. I want to see big orders that come in. And today we saw a bearish order come in. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, these were executed at 1249 and 1248 respectively today. So if you look at the overall chart and the price action of AMC today, let's just look at this on a 5-minute chart. What did you see happen? Well, these were executed at about $44.34 and $44.26, meaning that the price was trading right about right here. And they were anticipating a push to the downside in what I would call this retracement zone. And it did end up happening, right? You got to push to the downside. And whoever bought those large puts, who knows if they actually close out of their positions or not, but they made some money. That was a way that you could have predicted an upcoming move to the downside, which I anticipated happening today in this grand scheme, short-term microscopic, I should say, potential breakout scenario. But if you look at the overall flow for this stock, which I will show you here, it's overwhelmingly bullish. You've got way more calls than you do puts. And if you look at the monthly versus weekly, you got a few more puts than calls, but overall, I mean, it's square met in the middle in terms of ask versus bid, calls versus puts. You've got way more calls coming in. And then today, you've got overall more bears pushing the market, which is, you can see that, right? It's validated by the overall price action. And this is a way that you could have predicted this sort of move to the downside in the very short term, microscopic. So that's what we got cooking up in terms of the options flow. If there's any new orders that come in, I will definitely let you guys know. But that's what we got rocking, right? This is a confirmation of this overall trend in which I've laid out in front of you guys on the hourly time frame, which brings me into that 4 test trend in which I've talked about many times, right? What is that? What am I watching for? What does this all mean? Anytime that AMC has tested a significant level of support or resistance 4 times, it typically gets a break over that level of support or under that level of, I should say, support or resistance, yada, yada, yada. It gets a break on that 4th test. And this has happened before. It happened at $37.50, and this is why you got that huge push up here to almost $50 and it rejected, which is what makes this level significant, right? So what I'm watching for is this. It's gotten 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. I told you in yesterday's video that I thought it was going to reject off of this $48 level and retrace essentially down to a level of support or a Fibonacci retracement zone, one of the two, in which I mapped out for you in yesterday's video. This is exactly where I got those zones from. Fibonacci retracement essentially just shows you levels in which you can expect AMC to pull back to in any sort of time frame. And I laid out that 38.2% to 50% retracement based on previous trend. This is typically where AMC will retrace after big moves, is that 38 to 50% retracement zone. And it did that, right? It got a little bit of a bear trap setup, I would call right here, down to freaking $43, pretty much square on the nose. And then it got a little bit of a push back to the upside. Now, we are still in that Fibonacci retracement zone. We haven't quite gotten the bounce yet. But what I'm watching for is very simple, right? Look back here. What ended up happening? You had a push over $38, tested $48, and then it retraced for a while. Retrace, down to this upside level of support. So there's 2 different scenarios that I can see playing out here. First one is this. First is it either A, consolidates above this level, this Fibonacci retracement zone for a day. Very similar to what you see back here in this price action, right before we got this pretty decent push to the upside. That's bullish, right? Consolidation and an uptrend is undoubtedly bullish, even after a 6.6% down day. The second case scenario is this. It just straight up gets a push out of this Fibonacci retracement zone. And I don't want to delete everything. Just delete this. It just gets a bounce out of the Fibonacci retracement zone. It comes back up and tracks exactly what you're seeing right here, right? It retests for the 4th time that $48.50 level of resistance. Now, this is just me personally, right? You guys do what you want to do. I'm not here to make any sort of financial decision for you guys. This is ultimately your financial responsibility. All I ask is that you have a plan, because if you're failing to plan, then if you're planning to fail, then don't plan, right? That's exactly what I can tell you. So I think this is a good time, if you do play derivatives, to pick up a longer term expiration for a call option. That is because of a couple different things, right? You are in an overall uptrend. This has been following literally to a T, a predictable pattern and trend, as you can see here, and it's flushed. It's flushed a pretty decent amount today, down about 7%. And those are the times in which you actually want to buy. You want to buy fear to a T. That's exactly what you're watching for with AMC. Now, the most important thing is that options expire. So if you're not familiar with the derivatives market, please just buy stock. And that ultimately pushes price action. Options do not move price action. So just know that, right? That's something you need to know, unless, of course, they run in the money. That's a whole different subject. But when you buy call options in and of themselves, that do not push price action. So know that first and foremost, it is important to own stock. It is important to buy stock. Just have a plan. That's all I'm asking. So that's what I'm looking at right here with AMC, where it is trading right now. Ultimately, this is doing exactly what I thought it would do. And this sort of price action that you're watching right now is a spring loading effect. This unwinding that you saw happen today is actually confirmation of the trend that is laid out in front of your very eyes. I stand by exactly what I've said. I stand by it. This is eerily similar to what you saw back in late May and early June. It's eerily similar to patterns and trends that I've watched over the last 9 months with this stock, and no bullshit ever from me, man. I'll tell you right now, if I'm wrong with this, I'll just come out and tell you, but I don't feel like I'm wrong yet. I really don't. It's tracking to a T, literally what I thought would happen here with the stock price, and I feel very confident that in the near future, sometime in the next 1 or 2 weeks, like I said in my last video, you're going to see a breakout. You're going to see a break over that $48.50 level of resistance. And that time, it's just a matter of time, man. This is something that I read on Twitter, and I find this very interesting. This is what I'll leave you with, right? Once you view this as a chart that is trading time instead of price, you're going to think about how this works differently. You are. Absolutely 100% you are. Because the conviction and the trade thesis behind AMC, the reason that people buy and hold this stock is because they know what they hold in their hands, and they know what it stands for, and they know what they're fighting for. And that's ultimately what I've got for this video. So blah, blah, blah. I know spiel. Drop a like, comments. Catch you on the next one. Light taps, always. Much love and peace.